What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well and has had a good weekend. And yeah, before I start this video, I do want to remind you to go and join the mailing list. The link is in the description. I have a lot of juicy content and all sorts of exclusives that will be available through the mailing list, so make sure to join that. And yeah, let's start with the news. As you can see, I've got all the high impact news for the week. We have FOMC minutes on Wednesday, PMI on Thursday, sorry, with jobless claims, and then Friday we also have some high impact news. So I'm looking for most of the expansion of the week to be happening Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'd like to see a classic week. I always want to see a classic week, but as in creating the high on Monday, Tuesday, and then the low on Thursday. And yeah, another thing I want to bring our attention to as well is sentiment. Now, ICT has said in multiple live streams and such that he likes to look at what the majority majority consumers, retail, think about the market. You can see here with Euro USD and GBP USD that most of the community is short on Euro USD and GBP. If you continue watching this video, you'll see that I am actually bullish on both of those. So it's interesting because we can use that as almost like a confluence in the weirdest way to help us with our bias, because we can see that most of retail are likely to be wrong, and therefore if it's opposing our views, that can help us. So I'll speak more on that later, but let's now jump straight into the charts. So starting with dollar, as you can see on the monthly, I'm going to mark out all the premium and discount PD arrays I have my eye set on and where I want to see price continue to work its way. Now you can see we are in the middle of May now. Well, just past the middle. We are coming to an end soon, but yeah, let's get a few things marked out. Firstly, the fact that we're coming off of this monthly bearish order block, so let's just get that typed out. Sorry for the noise. Make that black. And then in terms of where price is heading to, there's a few places I'm looking at. Mainly, I'm looking at this bullish order block as a target for price, so I'm going to make that blue and type bullish monthly order block, like so. And then there is also an implied fair value gap right here, but I'm not going to draw that out on this time frame. On the lower time frames there are some more. So that means I'm now looking for April's low to be targeted for sell side liquidity, and then obviously start to see us work into this big wick range. What you'll also find is that the midpoint of this wick lines up with that monthly bullish order block, the consequent encroachment. So that's another reason I want to see price draw down towards that as we continue through the month of May. So let's now go to the weekly, and we're going to do exactly the same thing, marking all premium PD arrays and then all discount PD arrays as well. So if you watched last week's video, my weekly review, you know that I wanted to see a down close week. That's what we got. We traded up slightly into the range of the previous week's wick, and now moving into this week I want to see the same thing. So I do want to see another down close week, meaning that I want to see a wick higher to an extent, and then I want to see us expand lower, taking out last week's low and potentially moving towards this fair value gap right here. So this is what I have my eyes set on for the new week. We'll take out the middle line and we can write in weekly fair value gap. And then the highest I'm looking for price to trade, I am also looking at this wick. Now remember, wicks are gaps too, so that means we should treat them as such, meaning that I'm looking at the consequent encroachment. I'm going to drag that right through, we'll make it red and dashed, and this should now provide resistance. So if say Monday or Tuesday does create a high and we trade up to this level, I'd expect it to provide resistance to then send price lower and start working our way to towards these lows. So let's just get that written out as well as weekly consequent encroachment. So we see that E, and then we also want to get this low, because this is a weekly low, so it's going to be quite a significant low for south side liquidity. We'll move this over here, and then we also have these lows as well. So now we have a few things on both monthly and weekly to key off. Let's now head down to the daily, and this is going to be the last time frame I use for us to be framing price. So you can see we have a large daily wick from Friday's trading. I will be looking at the midpoint of that as well. I doubt it's going to provide the resistance that, you know, the weekly consequent encroachment would, but it's still significant, because if we do turn around at that point, that will help us frame shorts on dollar with longs on the pairs, obviously, and then that can help us work our way towards the sell side liquidity. So definitely watching this daily consequent encroachment as well. Put that in the center. But like I said, if we are going to see some kind of high get made, there is still a gap up here. So there's potential for price to want to trade into that. So that's just something to keep in mind. After Monday trades, we'll have a much better idea. But generally speaking, I want to see these PD arrays provide resistance. So I'm going to be watching this one first. If this gets traded through, then I'm watching this fair value gap to provide resistance. So that's what I'm looking for the high. And then obviously we have these lows here and here that I'm looking at for price to trade to. So that's all I'm going to do on dollar. We're going to keep it pretty simple. But overall, I'd like to see a classic week in terms of creating the high early on and then moving lower for the rest of the week, running into south side liquidity here and here. Hope that all makes sense. Let's now head over to GBP USD. We are going to start on the monthly here as well, just so we can see where price is coming from and where it's going to. So you can see we're trading off a fair value gap. You can see our volume respected that and we're starting to trade aggressively higher. And also last week we did actually take out the previous month's high. So that means that this down close candle right here is now a bullish order block. So we should treat it as one, meaning that we can mark out the opening and write monthly bullish order block. And then in terms of targets, we have this beautiful swing high up here, this large wick as well, midpoint of that. But before we get to those levels, we do still have the midpoint of this wick and the midpoint of this wick to get to first. So let's just get that drawn out like so, and that's going to be a monthly consequent encroachment. And remember, once price trades through that, we can use that to provide support to then reach our next level, which will be the buy stops above this monthly high. I am also as well, because again, wicks are gaps too, we should treat them as such. We're going to look at the midpoint of this, and I'd like to think that this midpoint will provide support for price moving into the new week to help use it to key off to get to our next levels. So let's make this black as well, make it dashed, and we can write monthly consequent encroachment as well. So now we have two levels on the discount and two levels in the premium that I'd like to see price react off to help us frame a directional bias. Cool. So now let's drop down to the weekly, and you'll see how we've closed above that midpoint from the monthly, meaning again, if we create some kind of low, I'm watching this level very closely to potentially form some long in opportunities. As price falls down into that, I'll be expecting dollar to be trading up into its premium PD arrays, which, as we know, on the weekly it's going to be that consequent encroachment and this daily consequent encroachment. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be watching on GBP. And then you can see we do have a bullish order block right here. Like I said, ideally we do stay above these lows. Like, I don't want to see these lows get violated, purely because I want to see us continue to tread on higher. So Monday's going to be very interesting. And like I said, I'm looking to be turning at this order block if possible. So let's get that order block marked out as well, just because we may get a nice reaction at it. But like I said, because since we're so close to it already at the beginning of the week, it doesn't really leave much room for us to create a secondary low, if that makes sense. So we're just going to see how Monday trades. But that's what I'm going to be watching. And that's a daily bullish order block. So that's cool. We'll go to the 4 hour, just take a quick look. You'll see that we have a little mitigation here. Low, high, higher, low, and we've expanded higher now. So that's why I'm watching this range to see, does it provide support for continuation higher. So definitely pay close attention to that. But again, after Monday, we'll have a much clearer idea of direction. Definitely in the long term, moving over the next few weeks, I do want to see this monthly high get traded to. But this week specifically, I'm watching for this monthly consequent encroachment to get traded to, with potential to reach for these highs as well. So let's finish off on Euro USD. This is quite a quick video for a weekly review. And you can see how we had a large week last week, of course, ripping out these highs. And now I'm looking at consequent encroachment of this wick and these highs as a potential reach for liquidity. So let's get those marked out. red and dashed. So that's weekly consequent encroachment. And then we also have this rejection block level as well. In fact, we should start on the monthly. Let's go to the monthly real quick, just to see where we're coming off. So we're coming from this low right here, trading higher. This is now a bullish order block, but I doubt price is going to need to return all the way back down there now that we're taking out this high. Price should be able to comfortably continue on a higher. So I'm not too concerned about this bullish order block being used right now. I'm just looking to see, can we keep trading up through this large wicks range. And you can see we just hit the 50% level, consequent encroachment off that. Once we get above that, that level here will then provide support for the next level. So I'll talk more on that once we do trade above it. That might be tomorrow, that might be Tuesday, I'm not sure. But once we are above it and we're on a closing basis, we can start looking at this consequent encroachment as support for price to carry on rallying higher. Let's now go down to the daily. We have a similar swing low that we saw on GBP. Again, preferably this fair value gap gets left open. And the reason for that is because it shows a level of bullishness in price that it wants to trade higher. So ideally, this doesn't get traded to. The same way I'm watching dollar closely with this fair value gap. Ideally, it just gets left open. So there are times that we don't always want to see fair value gaps get filled. There's times we want to see them get left open because it gives us, it acts as like a signature in price to say, okay, we want to continue on higher. But we can look at this long wick from Friday, similar to GBP. And what we're looking at, consequent encroachment, of course. There's a lot of consequent encroachment to be keying off this week, guys. So we'll see if that gets traded to. Daily, consequent encroachment. And then obviously we have this high, and that's our weekly consequent encroachment level right here. Lined up nicely with a nice daily rejection block. I'm not going to bother mark that out, and then obviously we have that weekly rejection block level up there. So yeah, overall I'm just looking for higher prices for the week, with the low preferably getting made at this level to provide support. So let's go to the 4 hour real quick, and you'll see there's a massive fair value gap and a bullish order block right here. So again, if we're going to create some kind of low on Monday or Tuesday, ideally it will be in this range, and then price will be permitted to continue on higher. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. I hope you found this insightful. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and join the mailing list, because like I said, I've got lots of juicy content coming from June. I'll be sending out some emails, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and yeah, let's get straight into things. So we're going to start on the dollar as per usual. Now, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, go and watch it and you'll understand what all of these PD arrays from the weekly and daily I have marked out are explaining. So yeah, definitely go and check that out. Also, if you haven't already, join the mailing list. I have a lot of great content coming in June that I don't want you guys to miss out on. But yeah, so you'll see Monday's trading, we came right up to the daily consequent encroachment. If we look at the high of today, it's 104.649, and that consequent encroachment is 104.647. So can you get more accurate than that? I don't know, but anyway, it's nice to see that we've hit that. The fact that we didn't come off of this level is saying to me that we're likely going to continue up to the next point, which would be this high from Friday's high. So I'm moving into tomorrow expecting a continuation higher, and when we drop down to the lower time frames, you'll see why that is as well. But the fact that it looks like we're going to close higher. It is still only 5 p.m, but it looks like we're going to close quite close to the consequent encroachment. If that holds its position like that, I'm going to be looking at the 25% level now to provide support. So let me just get that delineated for us. Right here, 104.575. We'll make that thinner, dotted, and let's make it blue. And now we know that that's the 25% level off this long wick. So as we drop down to lower time frames, we can look at that to see, okay, can price find support on that to then send it higher and run up into that weekly consequent encroachment. Now again, if you've watched yesterday's video, you'll know that I had my eye set on this fair value gap as a potential premium drawn liquidity before we see our reversal for the week. So yeah, also what you'll find is now we have 2 daily lows right here. This is going to create a beautiful sell side liquidity for us to come and grab. Now that doesn't mean we're going to necessarily grab it tomorrow, but we know now that we have relative equal lows here, that's going to have sell stops residing below it. That price is going to want to draw into later this week. So I'm just going to keep that here like so, and then we'll drop down to the lower time frame. Let's make this say daily sell side liquidity, and then I'm also going to write out 25% level of daily wick. And now let's go down to the 4 hour. So as you can see, here's Monday's trading, traded higher, hitting that consequent encroachment to a T, came back down. Where did we trade into? Bullish order block right here. Let's draw that out for us. Came down into it, and now we're getting another reaction off of it. So yeah, it's looking to me like we should remain bullish realistically. Again, you'll find that this 25% level is lining up perfectly with the midpoint of this potentially bullish order block. As soon as that high gets taken out, it will become that. But yeah, now I'm looking for price to continue higher and work its way up to that fair value gap. Why? Because we've encroached now on that wick. So this is our first stage. Price is refusing to trade away from it. Yes, we've engineered liquidity down here, but overall it's showing a lot of strength. We're now above that 25% level. So now I'm waiting to see, okay, can we get above that consequent encroachment, when I then expect longs potentially running into Asia and London session, mainly London session, when I'd then be looking for that Friday high to be targeted and that weekly consequent encroachment. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now drop down to the 1 hour and get a close look at price. So you'll see classic day, we came down, creating the low during London, 2 AM, very classic. Failed to take out this low. What does that show? Strength. Traded higher, we had a nice expansion, 7 AM, classic. Came up, hit that consequent encroachment, came off of it, standard consolidation, and you can see as we're running into the rest of the day, price is just treading on higher. So as we move into that Asia range and into that London range, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw London expand higher to take out that Friday high before witnessing some kind of reversal, and that would nicely frame a classic week. Because if you remember again, yesterday's video I was saying I want to see a classic week with the high getting created on either Monday or Tuesday. So now I'm watching to see, well, as soon as we take out this level of consequent encroachment, I want to see this high as a target. So yeah, I hope that all makes sense. Bear in mind we do have this bearish order block first, but the reason I'm not really too confident in that holding price is the fact that we have this massive daily fair value gap up here. Yes, we can't see the fair value gap, you know, on a 15-minute, but on the daily we know there's a gap there, so price should be seeking to trade into that. Furthermore, the fact that we failed to take out this low, we failed to do that, this is all showing strength on dollar, so it means we want to see higher dollar. So moving into the next day again, I'm going to be looking for buys on dollars with shorts on the pairs, expecting us to run on lower. Don't know what that is. Let's get rid of that. Oh, that is the opening price. So that's quite interesting. We have a Sunday opening, and look at that. We came and found support on that and traded higher. So whilst we're in that premium, again, we're looking for shorts with the expectation to then run the other side of that Sunday opening price later in the week. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. And now let's head over to GBP USD. A lot of lines all over the place. So let's head over to GBP USD. We'll start here on the daily as well. Now GBP's kind of been misbehaving, and I'll explain what I mean by that later in the video. We can still see all the PD arrays. So here was Monday's trading. Again, I marked out that daily bullish order block. If we're expecting higher dollar, what does that mean? We want to see some lower GBP. So it'll be nice to see if we can start to work, if GBP can start to work its way towards this bullish order block, and it'll be interesting to see whether this bullish order block can hold itself to then, you know, send price higher and act as a propulsion block to then run to our higher targets, such as this monthly consequent encroachment. And remember, we have these highs as well. But first, again, we're expecting the Judas swing, so we're looking for us to move in the opposite direction to what we want to see the rest of the week move in. So nothing really here on the daily that I want to bring our attention to, other than the fact we now have a low quite close to this opening of the bullish order block that price may want to draw to in the new day. But let's go down to the 4 hour, and you'll see how we traded higher, ran out Friday's highs, and now we start to trade lower. Now this is where GBP's been misbehaving. Let's just add dollar. Oops, excuse me. And let's add Euro USD. Now I'm going to put dollar at the bottom, and I'm going to show you guys something. So what you'll find is that Euro's made a lower high. Dollar's made a higher low. So these two are these two are behaving and are in tandem, whereas GBP has decided to make a higher high. So that means that GBP is being the sixth sister here, and because of that, I do believe GBP is going to have some catching up to do. And what I mean by that is that as euro presses on lower and dollar presses on higher, it means that pound is going to have to catch up with that drag almost, and that's why we may see more expansion in pound. So we need to be wary of that and just take that into consideration, because pound shouldn't be making that higher high, because pound was clearly running stops, whilst euro saying, okay, I want to go lower, and pound and dollars are clearly saying, okay, I want to go a little bit higher. So just something to consider. We're making high highs when we shouldn't, meaning that we're in a very high premium, and again, it should offer us shorting opportunities. But we'll drop down to the 1 hour to get a better look at price, and you'll see we pretty much just consolidated before we wicked higher, running out those relative equal highs, and now we're kind of just again consolidating. So moving into the new day, well, I'm targeting obviously that Monday low, and now we have this massive liquidity void, a lot of upside delivery here that I'd like to think that pound may want to attempt to try and fill. We also have a breaker here, kind of. Well, we do have a breaker, a low, a high, a lower low at the monthly consequent encroachment, last up close candle. So I'd like to see this level as a potential target for price moving into Tuesday's trading. So let's get that marked out. We'll get this red. And generally speaking, yeah, I'm expecting pound to move quite a bit, like quite a lot, because like I said, it's making highs when it shouldn't. So it's going to need to snap back into action and start behaving itself, if you know what I mean. Yes, there's relative equal lows below here. Preferably that doesn't get taken. Why? Because I'd like to see a reversal of some sort. But I'm definitely keeping my eyes on this range moving into the Thursday. We will go to the 15-minute. Absolutely disgusting price action before we ran those relative equal highs. But it does look like classic price action, like relative equal highs. Now we should be looking for sell stops where residing below this low. And then we have, again, that breaker and a bullish order block right here on a 15-minute basis. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. Quite simple, but it should be quite a nice day. Just looking for that Monday low to get ran, and again us to trade on lower. So we're going to finish up on Euro USD. We'll start on the daily here as well, of course. Let's take a better look. So Euro behaved itself on Monday. You can see it traded lower. Haven't quite hit that consequent encroachment, but again, with dollar moving higher and us edging towards that, I am expecting us to carry on lower and potentially trade into this fair value gap down here. So yeah, pretty nice day on euro. I'm going to do the same thing I did on dollar. What's that? Look at the 25% level and see, can that 25% level provide resistance to help us with price to send it lower. So we'll get this marked out like so, and now let's go down to and also you'll see, oh yeah, we took out Friday's high. So what buy stops have been grabbed? Where should we offset them? Below some kind of south side liquidity or at an imbalance, which we have right here. So that's something to consider. Let's go to the 4 hour. See, we traded higher, ran out those stops, breaking market structure here, changing state delivery, came back up into a breaker. There's an implied fair value gap right here, guys. Look how we traded into that, and now we're seeing, quite a lot of pressure on the downwards move. So I am expecting this daily consequent encroachment to get traded through. I'd like to see it act as resistance for the day to then potentially target this low, and or if it's not going to reach all the way into that low, it will reach this bullish order block. So yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting day to say the least. But again, I'd like to think this is we do see the low of the week get created on Tuesday. Let's go to 1 hour. Again, there's that implied fair value gap, which the order block is lined up with. Wicked into it once, wicked into it twice, and now we're starting to see some nice heavy displacement as we move towards that Asia range. I wouldn't rush into the charts at all. Really depends where price is, but moving into London, I would like to think that we do see some kind of, Judah swing with us moving lower before like a classic New York reversal. You can see how we're wicking off that 25% level. I don't really expect price to come back above that until we either reach this bullish order block and got a reaction, or if we are going to be more bearish, taking out this low. It really just depends. So this will be my first target, and then this will be my after target. Let's go to the 15-minute. You can see quite a lot of quite consolidated, but overall I want to see can price get down there. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, drop a like, and join the mailing list. Again, I've got some crazy content on the way in June, so definitely join that, and I'll catch you in the next one tomorrow. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and before I start this video, I highly advise you go and watch yesterday's video, and if you haven't watched yesterday's video, I highly suggest you go and watch Sunday's video, just so that you have an idea of all the PD arrays I have marked out. And yeah, let's get straight into things. So we had quite an interesting day today. Price didn't deliver to the premium PD array that I anticipated. However, you will see that we did take out Monday's high quite comfortably too, and came off it quite aggressively. You'll also see that we traded down into Monday's low wick as well, coming off of that as well. But once we drop down to the lower time frames, we will be able to frame it a lot more clearer. One thing I do want to bring our attention to is this daily consequent encroachment. So if you remember the past 2 days now, I've been talking about this consequent encroachment and saying how the fact that we traded into it on Monday said to me that I want to see, can we reach up into this weekly fair value gap? And you see we just about failed to do that, which is showing a level of weakness to me on dollar. So with that taken into account, I do want to see if we can move lower moving into tomorrow. However, we do have high impact news both at 8:30, and then we have FOMC minutes as well. I don't tend to trade. I highly suggest and highly recommend you don't bother trade tomorrow, purely because the way that they move the markets when there's FOMC minutes at like 2 p.m, you'll see lots of consolidation, a lot of high resistance, runs on liquidity, and then we probably won't see a move until like 2, 3, 4 p.m. if anything. And it's better we just wait till Thursday and Friday, I suggest. But as I was saying, one thing I want to bring our attention to is the way that the volume, we haven't yet closed, but you can see we only have 50 minutes left, but the volume is respecting the daily consequent encroachment. So the volume of these daily candles are staying below it, which is again supporting off our bias of wanting to see lower dollar for the rest of the week, and this should be taken into consideration as we move into the next day. So let's go on to the 4 hour, and you can see how heavily consolidated we were as we traded higher, moving into this bearish order block right here. Another thing to take note of is the mean threshold of the bearish order block, which is mean threshold, which is the midpoint. Look at this, you can see how volume again is respecting that level. So we're seeing respect of bearish PD arrays. Although we are trading into the levels and trading higher, it's still finding a hell of a ton of resistance to get through it, which again is suggesting that we should be able to get a nice run lower. And again, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I brought our attention to this south side liquidity formed from Monday's low and last Friday's low as well. So I do want to see lower dollar overall, but like I said, the way that they can move price with FOMC minutes and high impact news at 8:30 is so ugly that it might not even be worth trying to risk getting involved. Also, technically we can still trade up to this fair value gap that I've had my eyes on. So we might see a wick up there and then trade lower. Ideally, I'd like to think that we don't get up there. That would really help with my bias. It would show a level of bearishness which I'm comfortable with. That can help us frame lower pricing for the rest of the week. But let's now drop down to the 1 hour and take a close look, and you'll see I've got my daily dividers. Here's Monday's trading. We traded very deeply lower. We traded much deeper lower during London, and then we had a classic reversal after that during New York. Now, one thing I want to preach to you is that when you see movements like this, when we're expecting higher days, because if you remember in yesterday's video I was saying I wanted to see us trade higher, right? When we see London moving this aggressively lower, don't let it fool you. Just simply wait until New York, and then you'll see the reversal we waited for. And you can see we came right down into that Sunday opening price and came off of it once again. Again, consolidating at that daily consequent encroachment, and we traded actually into a bearish order block on the hourly right here with this wick. Again, volume respecting these levels, and there is a slight breaker here as well, high, low, higher, high. So we're respecting that as well. So moving into tomorrow, what am I looking at? Well, I'm going to drag this out. And so long as price stays below this level, I'm happy to be heavily bearish on dollar with the expectation to run for this south side liquidity below Monday's lows, and then start working our way down towards this south side liquidity. If say we start trading above that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did, again, the amount of manipulation that happens on days like this, especially a Wednesday midweek, if we do trade higher than that, I'll simply just stay out of it and probably not even bother get involved. But I'd like to think that if we can stay below that, we'd be able to see some nice setups forming to send us lower. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on dollar. I hope that all makes sense. And yeah, let's now head over to GBP USD. We'll start here on the daily as well, obviously, and then you can see what is that purple level. Let's get rid of that. So you'll see that the daily took out both the high and low of Monday, which is quite interesting. So there was a lot of movement on pound today, which is fine. I did get in on a few moves, and to be honest, it was, if you understood where we were trading to and from, it was quite a nice day. And what I mean by that is that we had this massive daily bearish order block, which I didn't bring our attention to, by the way. But we had this massive daily bearish order block that we traded into on Tuesday and then came off of it, sending price lower, and it actually ran for, I do believe, the Asian range lows. Now, the Asian range lows and highs, I am going to be releasing a video on that very soon in June, so definitely keep an eye out. Join the mailing list if you want to have access to that. Link in the description. But until then, let's now drop down to the 4 hour and see how price traded. So if you look at this price action, it's very disgusting. Clear consolidation, a lot of back and forth price action, and you'll see it's very different as well to how euro was moving. And what do I mean by that? Let's add euro to the charts, and you can see how euros clearly moved lower, whilst pounds showing this kind of strength. Now, don't get me wrong, euro is moving lower in tandem with dollar moving higher. Pound's the one that's misbehaving right here, which is why I do believe that pound is going to have to, you know, do some behaving or snap into place to some extent. But yeah, pretty ugly price action on the 4 hour. Not something I really want to get involved with. Remember, generally speaking, I am expecting a higher GBP. If I'm expecting lower dollar, I want to see GBP trade higher. And the fact it's continuing to show this strength, if dollar does give way and starts to trade lower, pound will probably be the pair to trade, because it's showing that strength which euro isn't. So we might see some significant expansion on pound. Furthermore, we have a clear big 4 hour fair value gap right here, waiting to get filled in the premium, assuming that dollar does give way and that we are going to reach for some kind of buy side imbalance on pound. So let's just get that marked out as our target if we do start seeing price break out higher. Another thing to take note of is that here on this 4 hour candle, we did come down and grab stops below Monday's low. And again, I did mention this in yesterday's video, how Monday's low was a target. And this is interesting because we took out Monday's low here on GBP, but you know that did dollar take out Monday's high? Dollar failed to take out Monday's high. No, it didn't. My bad, guys. But my point is that liquidity has been grabbed from below this low. So if anything, we should be now permitted to trade on higher. If this low gets violated now, then I'll be expecting a significant movement lower into this south side liquidity. But I'm still bullish on pound, which is why I want to see us trade up into this fair value gap. So what am I looking for moving into tomorrow? Well, let's drop down to the 1 hour. And again, I'm going to be watching this long wick. And what I'm going to mark out is the consequent encroachment, as per usual. And I'm going to be watching this level to provide support. So this is the very lowest I want to see price trade if we're to remain bullish on if we're to remain bullish on pound and dollar is to give way and start trading lower. So definitely keep an eye on this level. It should be respected so long as we want to see higher prices. But what you'll find is that we got this reaction that we saw when it traded lower. We got this reaction from a daily bearish order block, but look how we came off of it. Yes, we came down, took out Monday's lows, but we wicked right off of it, and price is still remaining consistent above that Sunday opening price. So that's something to consider as well. And that Sunday opening price, I'll talk about it when we reach euro as well, because what you'll find is that euro is actually below the Sunday opening price right now, whereas pound is showing significant strength sitting on top of it. Multiple times we traded into it, come off of it, traded into it, come off of it. And I'd like to think that this created a classic Tuesday low that can enable us to then have a continuation higher. And we've created relative equal highs here with Tuesday's high and Monday's high. But like I said, with the amount of news we have tomorrow, we have high impact news, we have inflation rates on pound. That's something to consider. We just need to be really careful, and it's probably not the best conditions to be trading in. But overall, so long as dollar wants to show its weakness, so if dollar starts to fall, then I'm happy to be long on GBP with the expectation to fill this fair value gap. So pretty simple, but it should be quite interesting to say the least. Let's drop down to the 15-minute, and you can see, you're probably looking at this like, how did I manage to trade in these conditions? I don't even know myself. It is disgusting. Back and forth, back and forth. This looks like how Wednesdays usually look. So for them to do that on Tuesday, like, you know, this looks like a Wednesday profile to me, the amount of back and forth price action. For them to do this on Tuesday, it's saying to me that we'll probably see significant movement moving into the Wednesday. But I do like the fact, like I said, that we've grabbed those stops, price is staying above that Sunday opening, and now I'm just watching this consequent encroachment to provide support, assuming we're going to go higher. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now finish up on Euro USD. We'll start on the daily. Now my markings from Euro USD have gone, but yeah, so Euro failed to take out Monday's high, whereas remember pound took out Euro Monday's high and then comfortably took out Monday's low and traded down into this wick. So Euro is significantly weaker than pound right now, but obviously if we want to see lower dollar, we do still want to see higher Euro. So let's drop down a time frame and see if we can look for some PD arrays to key off of. So what you'll find is that we traded down into this bullish order block. We can look at the opening of it, touch that, and then price came off of it. So that's nice to see. I'd like to think that that is the low of the week again, similar to pound, but again with the kind of price action we're seeing, not very clean at all, and I'm waiting on like a significant expansion. Like, yes, we've came down into this level and came off of it, but we haven't yet had that expansion out of it, out of the range, if you know what I'm saying. But right now we've filled this fair value gap in the discount, and if we are bullish, then that Monday high, which we failed to take out today, that Monday high should be used as a target moving into Wednesday, assuming we do see that much price action. So let's get that Monday high marked out. And again, remember, this is all only relevant if dollar wants to respect what we want to see it respect. If dollar respects this level and we continue moving lower, then we are then permitted to be expecting longs on GBP and Euro, and we can start running for these levels such as here, and it'll be Tuesday's high as well. So we do have some nice targets laid out. It's just the fact that the way we got news at 8:30 and FOMC minutes, which I honestly, guys, I hate it. Like, it's just not a nice day. Probably best to stay out, but it'll be very interesting to say the least. But yeah, that's going to be everything, guys. Hope you found this insightful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to join the mailing list. The link is in the description. Smash subscribe, smash like, and drop a comment if you have any questions. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and I also hope that nobody got caught up in the slaughterings that was happening today with all the news releases. So yeah, hope everybody's safe, hope everyone's doing well, and let's get straight into things. So you'll see we're going to start on dollar as per usual, and you'll see that we have now actually traded and filled in this fair value gap that you see I brought our attention to at the very beginning of the week. So if you've been watching my videos this week, you'll know I had my eye set on this as a premium PD array. I did anticipate it to get traded to earlier on in the week. However, you'll see we delivered to it today on Wednesday. Now, there is a weekly profile that does have Thursday reversals, meaning that there is still an opportunity for price to trade on lower for the rest of the week. Now, the reason I want to see that is because my overall bias at the beginning of the week was to see a down close week, meaning that I want to see some kind of downwards price action. Also, we've been moving higher all week and we haven't traded to any kind of south side target. Also, moving into tomorrow, we do have high impact news both on Thursday and Friday. So as far as I'm concerned, there is still opportunity for price to trade on lower. Now, don't get me wrong, we have been awfully bullish in order to get into this range, but you can see we've only now just filled that premium PD array. And what the market does is it goes from premium to discount and discount to premium. So if we are to trade on higher and we are to go to the next level of premium, it would be this implied fair value gap up here. And I'm going to make this orange because price can go up there, but ideally price doesn't. I'd like to think that this is the high made today on Wednesday, and that we can see lower prices with the Thursday reversal moving into the rest of the week. But as we drop down to lower time frames, hopefully we can frame that a little better. But yeah, it was nice to see that we did deliver to this PD array. It's just interesting that it happened on the Wednesday and you saw how long it took to get up there. So before we get down to the low time frame, I do want to bring our attention to relative equal lows below here as a potential south side target. Now, it does seem a very far way away, but remember we do have high impact news both on Thursday and Friday. Durable goods, and well, I don't think we can see Thursday's news on TradingView, but there is news tomorrow as well. So the fact that we've traded to this premium PD array, I now want to look for some kind of discount PD array on the 4 hour that price may want to draw into. So let's now drop down to the 4 hour, and you'll see how we've closed at the top. Well, yeah, we're turning at the top of this fair value gap, which is completely fine. And I'm not saying that this is a high, but remember, I do want to see some kind of downwards price action. So what kind of PD arrays in the discount of the range we've created can we see? Well, first, let's split up the range. So we'll go from this low up to this high. And you'll see at the 50% level, we do have a fair value gap. Yes, we wicked into it today, but this fair value gap is still relevant because you'll see not all of it has been completely rebalanced. So there's a possibility for price to want to trade into that. So I'm going to make this blue. And before I say this, I'm not saying that price is definitely going to go down there. What I'm saying is that if we are to now trade lower and we are to have a classic, Thursday reversal in the week, this will be the target I want to see get traded to and get filled. You also see that there's some bullish order blocks down here as well. So it'll be nice to see if price can make its way into that. Now, don't get me wrong as well, we've also traded into a bearish order block on the 4 hours. So these two up close candles create a bearish order block. And if you drag this out, oh, we haven't actually traded into it yet. That's something to consider. But I am going to keep this marked out because if price, say tomorrow, does rally to an extent, it will likely rally into this. I'd like to see send price lower. So I'll keep this marked out and I'm going to put 4 hour bearish order block. And these are the levels I want to keep my eyes on moving into tomorrow. Now this week has been considerably difficult. As you saw with today's price action, the fact that we only just now closed this fair value gap, even though I wanted to see it get filled on Tuesday. But what you'll also notice is that I did drop a trade execution video, and that shows that I don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be right to be profitable. You just need to have an idea of where you want to see the market go. So I can speak more on that in other videos, but yeah, that's just something to take note of and just to stop you guys from putting so much pressure on yourselves. But anyway, let's go to the daily real quick one more time. Or was it the weekly? There's a PD array. The weekly, you'll see there is a bearish order block. We're trading into the wick of that. If we just look at the 50% level of this wick, you'll see we've traded right up into that, which is absolutely beautiful, just about missing it. So that's, again, something to consider. And again, a point which price is like, it acts as a PD array, so price can turn at that point. But anyway, let's go to the 1 hour and you'll see I have my daily dividers. And you'll see how we traded higher. That's that fair value gap I was talking about from the 4 hour. Found support in that, trade on higher, running out more stops. Again, stops above here, bearish order block on the hourly, which we've just traded into. But like I said, if we are to have a Thursday reversal, it's likely we'll see a rally during London into that 4 hour bearish order block, and then price will trade on lower for the rest of the week in towards this target. Other than that, price will just continue higher and try and reach for that now premium PD array above here. But ideally, I want to see price turn. And that's because I've been wanting to see price turn all week, and it's very rare for Monday to make a low at 2 a.m. in the morning. So off a like low of the week, and we just trade on higher. So that's what I've got my eye set on. But yeah, I am just looking for a shallow sweep above into that 4 hour bearish order block I was talking about. Potential reach into here, but then after that, if it does get into there, I definitely want to see some kind of pullback at that point. So I hope that all makes sense. And also the fact that we stayed above the Sunday opening the whole week, again, it's showing a lot of bullishness, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see, obviously. And now let's head over to GBP USD. Now, this week with GBP has been incredible in quite a difficult fashion. You'll find that GBP has been trading consistently higher, whereas Euro, you'll see, has been trading consistently lower. Now, environments like these, it means we are likely going through a significant turn or turning point in the market, and we will eventually see them snap into place, because when you have this level, like on a daily level of, clear lower lows on Euro and clear higher highs on pound, they're clearly doing something in the markets, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if next week we saw some craziness happen, but something's got to happen. What I'm saying is that something's got to happen for price to snap back into place. So we have to be awfully careful. And in terms of analysis, in conditions like this, it just makes it 10 times more difficult and 10 times less accurate in general. Like, we just need to be considerate of that. But anyway, you'll see Wednesday trading, we traded right up. What did we trade into? Is this a 4 hour? Yeah, right up into that 4 hour fair value gap I brought our attention to in yesterday's video. Wicked into it, traded into it again. Look at what we're expecting, and now we've traded on lower on a closing basis. Now, if I want to see lower dollar, that obviously means I want to see higher pound, but the way that pound's been moving so strong, I wouldn't be surprised if pound, has run out of breath. Like, it would struggle to start seeing stretches on there. Like, we will go to the daily though, and a few PD arrays we can mark out. It's going to be the midpoint, so this might be a target for price in terms of premium. And then if we are to trade lower, I'm obviously looking at these lows, but ideally, again, if we're going to see lower dollar, then I want to see higher pound. But like I said, these conditions are so ugly, I don't even want to this is really difficult for me to read. Like I have no clue. But what I'm going to mark out is this massive fair value gap, and I just want to show you how price has been showing support on top of it. So you'll see how we've wicked into it a few times and price traded away from it. As price comes back into it again, I expect no different really, but this is all assuming that dollar wants to trade on lower. But if dollar wants to trade higher, so let me just go back for a second. If dollar does want to try and make it up into the premiums, then GBP will have a really easy time coming down and running out this low from Tuesday. So another thing that's making GBP really difficult to analyze is that we've now traded into both of our targets. So if you've been watching my videos this week, you'll know I wanted to see price come down into this range and take out that Monday low, and I wanted to see it trade up into this 4-hour fair value gap. It's done both. So wherever it's going to go now, it's going to be pretty indicational of where, you know, wherever it goes from here is going to be, it's going to do it aggressively. As in, like, if it wants to move lower, it will do it. It will run lower. But like, if it's going to move higher and dollar is going to have a reversal, if that happens, then we're likely going to see pound struggle. But remember, pound is literally moving higher at this point, whilst euro is digging significantly deeper. So these kind of trading environments are just not ideal. But I hope that all makes sense. In terms of my expectations, honestly, I don't even know what to say about it. It's absolutely disgusting price action right now. And yeah, this has been a very, very ugly week, as you can see. So we just got to be careful. I'm probably not going to trade tomorrow. Another reason I'm not going to trade tomorrow is that we've had 3 up close days. 1, 2, 3. And in one of ICT's videos, he states that if it's 3 consecutive up close days, you don't want to be trading London sessions on the 4th day. So if I am going to be trading tomorrow, it'll definitely be New York, and I'll probably have more of a basis of where we are. For example, if we take out these lows down here, we might see another reversal to trade higher. If we tread on higher, we might be able to get in more longs to then run up to the next stage, and that would be, let's go to the 4-hour, that would be this gap up here and these highs. So there are places that I want to see price trade. It's just knowing the direction, and we won't know that until dollar makes up its mind with what it's doing. So let's just get that marked out as a very high premium if price does want to turn around one more time. But this is all assuming that dollar does reverse at this 4-hour or bearish order block, and we do see lower dollar moving into Thursday and Friday. So yeah, very difficult condition, guys. Here's the daily on euro. Now you can see euro significantly bearish, the way we closed lower below this low in this range. We do have a fair value gap right here that price may be reaching for, so that might be a potential low for dollar, but more similar, for euro, but more similarly to dollar, if dollar trades higher to create a high and then trades on lower, euro can happily trade down into this fair value gap and then turn around. So I'm not saying there is going to be a Thursday reversal, but if there is going to be a Thursday reversal, I'd like to see the low of the Thursday get made in this fair value gap, and I'd like to see the high of dollar get made either in this gap or within the 4-hour bearish order block, because we haven't actually traded into it yet. So, and there's a tiny gap right there, but yeah, that's what I'm watching. Let's get those marked out in fact. So let me say that again. If the high of dollar is going to get made tomorrow and we're going to have a Thursday reversal profile, this is where I want to see the high get made. If the low of euro is going to get made tomorrow and we're going to have a Thursday reversal, this is where I want to see the low get made. If we trade through this, so be it, and we're probably way more bearish than I anticipated, and we can start looking at these lows to get targeted. And if that's the case, I'll probably stay out of it. But and the same with dollar. If dollar trades through these levels and starts running up to these highs, I'll probably stay out of it and just be a little bit more cautious. But generally speaking, I'm looking for that, Thursday. Let's go on the 1 hour, and you'll see how we've just been trading on lower, taking out stops below this south side liquidity. Beautiful south stops below there. Came down higher again, digging lower. Remember, this is a daily fair value gap, so price may seek to fill that, and then I'd like to see how price responds to it. If we come out of it with some nice aggression at the right time, and look, we do have PMI for euro as well, London might create that low there and trade on higher. But yeah, just a level to keep our eyes on, and if we do start seeing price press higher away from this level, we can probably comfortably be long with the expectation to run for Wednesday's highs, and then moving into Friday, depends on where we are. We might be able to hit Tuesday and Mondays, but yeah, that's just what I've got my eyes set on. Another reason I keep wanting to see price trade higher as well is just the fact that we've been moving lower all week. So anyone that's gone short from Monday is in profit. If I was the markets, I'd want to rip them out. And the best way to do that would be a Thursday reversal at this point. Don't get me wrong. If we are to trade lower, we'll probably see a large expansion and we'll see it get down to these lows. However, we could still be in a Thursday reversal profile, and obviously we'll know once we do reach this fair value gap, and obviously once dollar, if it does, once it trades above back into this 4 hour bearish order block. 4 hour bearish order block I was talking about. So I hope that all makes sense. Very complicated conditions, guys, very difficult. Don't forget to drop a comment if you have any questions. Join the mailing list. I'll have some exclusive content on the Asian range and trading, getting released in June. Smash subscribe, drop a like, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and wow, what an interesting day we've had, to say the least. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I guess both of our PD arrays that I marked out got traded to, but if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I wanted to see one of them get traded to. But it's interesting to see how we traded down into the discount and then went right to the exact premium. So it's interesting, like, you can clearly see, you know, where the market's going. Understanding how it's going to do it is a whole other story, especially in weeks like these. But yeah, I guess we just get on with it. So here's the implied fair value gap. Oh yeah, and before I continue, don't forget to join the mailing list. The emails are going to start getting sent out from June. I have lots of juicy content, so if you're not on the mailing list, make sure to join. The link is in the description. You definitely want to be on that. I've got some great stuff coming. But other than that, yeah, we have this implied daily fair value gap, and you can see how we traded right up to the 50% level of that. And then if you recall in yesterday's video, I called out this fair value gap on the 4 hour, which we traded through. So yeah, there's a few levels out here that I've got marked out, such as this inversion fair value gap. And now that we traded through it and closed, well, it looks like we're closing above it, I anticipate it for it to provide support. Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. But let's go down to the 4 hour and take a better look at price. I am going to get rid of this just so that we can see price a bit cleaner. And you can see today's delivery. Thursday we came down. There's that 4 hour fair value gap. Volume stayed above, which is quite interesting, showing a level of strength. We wicked right down into this bullish order block. These three consecutive down close candles. Came off of that and traded higher, and then eventually reaching that implied fair value gap, which you can see we're now turning at that midpoint. So quite interesting. You can see we're now coming down towards that 4 hour inversion fair value gap now, because we've closed on the upside above it. So I'm going to be watching this level to see can it provide support for higher prices moving into Friday. So let's go on to the 1 hour, and you'll see I've got my daily dividers, and you'll see how we came down, created the low at 9 AM, and then we traded higher, running right into 2 PM, which is quite interesting. So what am I expecting from here? Well, we didn't reach the south side liquidity pool, which I wanted to see get traded to. It seems like there's clearly a level of strength that is being shown. But moving into tomorrow, first of all, I doubt these highs are going to get targeted on Friday. So I'm going to kind of like, not ignore, but the idea of price going any higher from here is very unlikely to me. And I say that purely because this is an implied fair value gap, right? And the fact that we're respecting this 50% level like that and trading away from it, I now expect this to provide resistance. So if price wants to return back into this range, I want to see it send price lower and start working its way back down into the discount. Let's go to the 15-minute, get a better look at price. You see how we came down, reversed at this level, which I brought our attention to, gapping higher very aggressively. But again, as we move into the next day, I like to think that this level, this inversion gap implied fair value gap can provide resistance for price to send it down into some kind of discount. Now there is a gap down here that price may want to reach for, but because of how messy it is, honestly guys, at this point I'd rather just wait till next week to even think about trading and such. We do have high impact news as well tomorrow, 8:30 classic. We have durable goods month on month, so I am expecting some kind of expansion at that time. If we're still below this implied daily fair value gap and a setup starts forming around 8 a.m, I'll happily go short with the expectation to run back down into this range that we've created. We also need to take note of each of the day's lows. For example, we've got a Thursday low here that hasn't been taken out. We've got a Wednesday low here that hasn't been taken out. We've got a Tuesday low here which hasn't been taken out. And we've got that Monday low which I've had my eyes on all week. So we might have one of those Fridays. I forgot what they're called. ICT has a term anyway. One of those Fridays where price just runs the complete range of the week and just heads straight down. That could be a possibility, but because I don't know how those kind of days form, like I don't know the model for it, I'm not really too confident in saying it's going to do that. So for now, I'm just expecting it to stay within this range, this low to this high, and I'm just going to watch price. And like I said, as we get to that 8:30 time, if we're below this and we're seeing continued resistance and price looks like it wants to push on lower, I'm happy to be short with the expectation to run into the discount. But honestly guys, this is really crazy market conditions. It is interesting that we came up though and reached this level, filled in the fair value gap, relative equal highs above here, beautiful. And now you can see how we're coming off of this level, running into the Asia range, which is going to start not too long from now. So yeah, I guess we just gotta wait, get rid of that for now. And yeah, it's interesting now that, like I said, now that both my PDRAs, premium and discount, have been traded to, like I'm done. Like I'm not really too concerned about getting in again on the Friday. Like I'd rather just wait till next week kind of thing. But in terms of discount rates, obviously we have this massive fair value gap down here. I think it's on the 4 hour. It's not on the 4 hour, but we do have fair value gaps down here. So we have this gap right here in the discount, and then in terms of premium PDRAs, it would be these highs. And that's what I'm saying, I doubt price is going to want to go all the way up there. Don't get me wrong, it can do it, and it would at this point. It really wouldn't surprise me if it did, but ideally I'd want to see I'd like to think that we can stay a little bit more sensible, but that might be a little bit of too much of an ask for dollar right now. So let's go to GBP USD. We'll go to the daily, and you'll see how GBP traded up, just wicking above that 50% level I brought our attention to, and then traded lower and taken out that Tuesday low, which finally got grabbed. So I'm gonna just get rid of that. You can see there is some kind of resistance that we're witnessing from this 4 hour fair value gap, and I don't know, it's quite interesting. Have we traded into this bullish order block yet? So we traded down into that bullish order block, so we should anticipate price to come off that in a bullish fashion, because it should act as like a propulsion block. So as we drop down to the low time frames, maybe we can see. So we came down, traded into that. Remember, that's a daily bullish order block. Remember, price is still staying above that 50% level of this fair value gap. What fair value gap? This one, from this high to this low. I'm watching this midpoint, and you can see our price, yes, we'll dab it into it multiple times, and that, but the fact that we've now traded down into that daily bullish order block, I then expect price to trade on higher, which is supportive of dollar, turning around at this point to potentially trade on lower. So that's just something to take into consideration. Let's go down to the 1 hour, and you'll see how price came down, touched that at 2 p.m, which is an interesting time to say the least, and we're just coming off that level now. So again, we do have highs, significant highs. We have the Thursday high and we have the Wednesday high as potential targets if price is going to trade on higher. So I am keeping a close eye on this Sunday opening price. Once we get above it, it should provide us support. And if it goes to the 15-minute, let's see, yeah, we've pretty much got relative equal highs off here. So I would like to see price trade on higher. But this is all assuming that dollar continues to show this weakness and starts to dig deeper down. So if we keep seeing weakness on dollar, I know this sounds obvious, but if we keep seeing, if price is staying away from this implied fair value gap and we're seeing more cutthroat price action as we're cutting lower, I'm happy to be expecting longs on pound and potential run up for that Thursday high with a potential reach for that Wednesday high. But again, this is assuming we have one of those Fridays where price just keeps running and running and running. And like I said, I don't know how those kind of days form, those kind of Fridays form more specifically. So I don't want to like, suggest it's going to happen, if you understand what I mean. But yeah, not a very not very clear price action today, guys, at all. But yeah, let's go down to the daily, just to finish up. We finally filled in that fair value gap, just as anticipated, closed that, came off it. We traded into a very high premium, reaching back into these wicks, came off of that. So now again, there's another implied gap right here. Now, the fact that we've filled a discount PD array, what discount PD array? This daily fair value gap, we've filled it with the wick. We should now technically be looking for some kind of premium PD array, and the next one is going to be this implied fair value gap. So it'll be interesting to see if price can go and try and fill this range, and as we drop down to lower time frames, we may be able to get a better look. So let's go to the 4 hour, and you'll see how we filled that fair value gap, and again, volume is respecting this. So that's something to consider. What I'm going to draw out though is the midpoint, consequent encroachment, extend the lines right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if we are bullish, price should respect this level. This is the lowest I want to see Euro trade. This is the very lowest I want to see Euro trade if we are to remain bullish and trade up into this range I was just talking about. If this gets violated, I'm expecting lower prices, and at that point, dollar will likely be trading on higher into these highs, and Euro can start thinking about reaching for this fair value gap down here. But if we stay above it and price respects it, I'm happy to be long and expect this range to get filled. So let's go to the 1 hour. You can see I've got my daily dividers, traded higher, running out stops right here, failing to take out these highs. Again, we're engineering liquidity, beautiful liquidity up here. It's just a matter of figuring out when we're going to reverse, or if we have already. This is that daily range I was talking about from the implied fair value gap, and this is that level I don't want to see price go back below. So let's go to the 15. This doesn't mean go long now, by the way, because we still got the whole Asia range plus London to sit through, so don't be stupid about it, guys. We only trade in the kill zones. But let's go to the 15 minute, and you'll see our price trading on higher, taking out these highs, and you'll see there's a bullish order block sitting right on that midpoint. So this, I'm looking at this to provide support. Price shouldn't want to violate this order block. This should be like a defense to keep price pressing on higher, running into all this range, and again we have a nice premium fair value gap up there if that's what we want to do. But honestly, guys, from the bottom of my heart, I really don't know. We just gotta wait and adjust accordingly. Obviously, if I drop a trade execution video tomorrow, you'll know that I got in on the move or whatever. So I'll see. But like I said, conditions like these, I'm really not trying to do the most. But again, another reason I'd like to see high prices is look, we've taken out stops below here. Sell stops have been grabbed. Now trading out of that, we should find continued support. Now where do we want to go? Premium PD array here, and obviously this massive gap up here. Assuming dollar does want to continue trading lower, what is dollar taking out? We've taken out that Wednesday high. So now we need to look for some kind of discount PD array, so such as this range that we have down here. So that's how I'm looking at price right now. We're clearly very consolidated. Not very consolidated. We have been moving higher all week. And that's again another reason I'd like to see everyone that's went long, I'd like to see them get absolutely destroyed. Because I can imagine there's a lot of retail expecting prices to keep pressing on higher. And don't get me wrong, it can. But if we have one of those Fridays, we will know about it. So make sure to join the Discord though. I will be active in there, and if we have one of those Fridays, I will be talking and discussing it. And yeah, make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description. Join the mailing list. Again, June, we have some great stuff coming your way. And yeah, smash subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys on Sunday. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.